Anything that suggests a well-rounded GitHub profile would be filled-out activity tracker that displays how many contributions the user makes daily, whether to their own projects or community ones. Multiple choice question: what is the most complete description of GitHub as a platform? GitHub keeps code hosted privately in a totally remote location. GitHub lets software engineers build resume portfolios online. Incorrect. It allows for code and knowledge to be easily shared and built upon between people in a community of technologists and developers. Yeah, that one. Right, so next, multiple choice question. What goes into creating a good GitHub profile? Creating several well-written projects with good README documents, having all my contact information available, having one really good project, changing the profile pictures from the default, creating several well-written projects with a good README documents. Which which of the following about GitHub profile is untrue? Which of the following about GitHub profiles is untrue? To make a GitHub profile stand out, you only have to worry about making sure contribute to your code often enough. No, it's false. Creating well-written readmes in each project makes your GitHub profile look better. GitHub profiles display some important stats about how often you contribute and which projects you've worked on. Untrue is this one. GitHub. To make a GitHub profile stand out, you only have to worry about making sure you contribute to your code often enough, which is incorrect. Okay, so another one. What does it mean for a project to be open source? Accessible to everyone, I'm sure. The source code can be downloaded by anyone, but not everyone can modify it. Nothing. Open source is just a buzzword in the industry. Anyone can access the code and modify it through a vetted process. Anyone can ask the developer questions about the software since they wrote. So anyone can access the code, modify it through a vetted process. Right, so yeah, this is managing a GitHub repository. Learn how to manage a GitHub repository, settings, and provide other users access to our repository. GitHub is a powerful code hosting platform for version control and collaboration. It allows multiple people to work on the same project from anywhere. However, that doesn't even begin to scratch the surface of what GitHub has to offer. In this article, we will explore settings to customize our GitHub repository, as well as discuss features that will take our repository to the next level. All GitHub settings can be accessed by clicking the Settings tab on the main page of our repository. You can follow along with this article by opening your own repository settings. The Options tab allows us to change the basic repository information such as its name and social media banner. It's where we can enable or disable certain GitHub features like wikis, issues, discussions, and more. We can also change merge options to only allow certain types of merges or automatically delete head branches. Most importantly, there's the danger zone. The danger zone, okay, change repository visibility, transfer ownership, archive this repository, delete this repository. As the name suggests, the danger zone is where one should take caution when changing settings. We can make a repository private or public, transfer ownership to another user, and archive or delete the repository. The Branches tab, the Settings Branches tab, is where we can set a default branch. The default branch is the branch against which all pull requests and code commits are automatically made. Typically, this is already set to the main branch. We can also protect our branches by adding rules that prevent branches from being deleted, disable force pushing, or require a pull request to be made before merging to a branch. Multiple choice question. Which of the following settings is not possible to change in the Options tab of GitHub repository settings? Change default branch, enable discussions, transfer repository ownership, change repository visibility to public. Enable discussions. Change default branch. Managing repository access. By default, only the owner of the repository of the organization can configure settings of a repository and access the tools. We have to go through the repository settings, manage access tab to grant other users or teams access. The specificity of permissions differs greatly between a user repository and an organization repository. As always, we should use caution when granting permissions, especially to those outside of our immediate organization or team. They can make undesired changes to the code, host pages or packages on our behalf, or even leak private source code. User repository. For a user repository, the owner can easily add another user by clicking the Add People button, searching their full name, email address, or username. The user will then have to accept the invitation, while the added user doesn't have the same permissions as the owner of the repository. The user can still rename a branch and publish packages, among other things. For more information on the differences between the permission levels, check out GitHub Docs. Okay, so fill in the code, complete the sentence below. In the organization repository settings, users and teams can be added as collaborators. Great. Okay, so here it says other repository features and tools. So far, we've already discussed the GitHub features we will be using most of the time. However, GitHub has a ton of advanced tools and settings we should definitely take advantage of. While we will not be diving deep into these, we still want you to be aware of them so you can revisit them when the need arises. Each of the following features has a dedicated tab in the GitHub repository settings. security, and analysis. We can enable or disable a variety of security features for our repository. Webhooks. We can use webhooks to get notifications when certain events happen. Notifications. We can receive email notifications when push events are triggered. Integrations. Any open source applications we use to extend our GitHub workflow, or any third-party tools we integrate with GitHub will appear here, for example, Slack or Circle CI. Deploy keys. We can use the SSH keys generated here to grant servers access to a repository for deployment. Actions. GitHub Actions is a powerful tool to automate, customize, and execute software workflows such as testing. The Actions tab allows us to change the permissions. Secrets. Secrets are encrypted environment variables that can be used in Actions. Pages. GitHub Pages allows us to host simple web pages straight from the repository. So that's like any static pages, similar to Vercel, Firebase, you name it. Okay, so multiple choice question. Git ignore file. Let's get know which files, folders, and patterns to ignore and not track them. Okay, multiple choice question. A .gitignore file containing logs / will ignore all files and folders named logs. That's false. Okay. Gitignore patterns. We can take advantage of patterns to match multiple file names. These help us handle special cases such as ignoring specific file types or ignoring all but one file inside a directory. Some examples of things that make up patterns are wildcard, star, asterisk to match 0 or more characters except for /. For example, adding asterisk.html to gitignore would ignore all files ending with the .html extension. Example asterisk would match any file starting with example, such as example.txt or example HTML file.html. Negation, which is exclamation as a prefix to negate any file that would otherwise be ignored. For example, index asterisk not public / index.css will ignore all files starting with index except for source / index.css. But we cannot negate a file inside an ignored directory. Squared brackets can be used to match a single character from a set of characters or a range of characters. Note that the range can be alphabetical, smaller case A to Z or uppercase A to Z, numeric 0 to 9 or set of characters. If we added index dot a space I a dash I asterisk with both the square bracket and wildcard to .gitignore, we would ignore index.css and index.html, but not index.js, since J is outside of the AI range. Double asterisk is used to match 0 or more directories. If we had a temp folder inside of all folders in the root directory and we only wanted to match files with the .log extension, we would use the pattern asterisk asterisk / temp / .log. Fill in the code, complete the pattern for gitignore file below to match and ignore all files with the log extension. Inside the directories v1, v2, v3, be sure to match the log files in all of their subdirectories as well. These folders are located in the source directory. So click or drag or drop to fill in the blanks. So v1, v2, and v3. Be sure to match log files in all their subdirectories as well. 1, 2, 3. Log. That is complex. What makes the GitHub community GitHub?